Welcome to another very special episode of Cheap Shots. I'm Micah Warren along. This time, we're waiting for Luther Broughton, which is really not that much of a surprise. So Zach Cundiff, brother of the former NFL kicker Billy Cundiff, right?
Cousin, actually.
Is it really a cousin?
No, not at all. But
Oh, that would have been so much.
there's
That
no
would have been
other
so much
famous
cooler.
Cundiffs, so I tend to. Funny story about that, actually. I'm just gonna get right into it.
Good.
My sister, whose last name used to also be Cundiff, teaches kindergarten, and then
Mhm.
during his Pro Bowl season, prior to the Miss around the world, her kids wrote Billy Cundiff a letter basically saying, "Hey, we love you. Our teacher's last name is Cundiff. She talks about it all the time, and we feel bad for you. We're so sorry." And of course, he just never got back to anybody. So now my family, the Cundiff family, dislikes Billy Cundiff because he never got back.
What a dick.
Yeah,
I guess he was
to
just
this
so
day.
overflowing with fan mail. He didn't know what to do with himself.
And then similar things happened after that to other kickers that missed huge kicks. And of course, that got all over Instagram, and kids are, So other kickers are cooler than Billy Cundiff.
Yeah, it sounds like. Speaking of guys that screw up, you're a Philadelphia fan like myself. Where are you now? You're down in South Carolina?
Yeah, I'm down in Hilton Head at the moment.
Oh, rough break.
Yeah, it was a
Oh,
long
how
drive,
you're
but
so much
it's
better
nice.
than everybody else.
Well, it's great. I
I
came down here. It's 72 degrees, which is nice, but up in Jersey, it's
warmer here.
now 82 degrees. I'm like, oh, cool. Why did I just stay?
Yeah, I think Easter's supposed to be a high of 57 or something around here in Virginia. Happy Easter, by the way, if you do
Hey,
celebrate. Yeah.
thanks. You too. I think
Yeah.
Lent ended today. So, if you gave up something 40 days, well done, and have fun doing it again.
Yeah, I did. It wasn't for Lent, but I trust you. I do. So so speaking of which, because I know I kind of thought of you when I saw this because while we try not to be too Philly centric here, the truth is this is a national story because of Philly fans being colossal a-holes is always a national story. And this surprised me as much as anybody. People that didn't see Alec Boehm is, what was it, 2 years ago he came up that they thought he was supposed to be the next guy, and then last year he was bad, and then this year he's still hasn't gotten the third base position for the Phillies.
Hasn't
The
made a
Phillies,
play yet.
he hasn't. Well, he's made some plays, but they weren't in favor of his team. And in general, I don't know what the Phillies deal is. They do not have a good history of developing prospects. It seems like the Braves like grow these guys. And meanwhile, the Phillies can't get anything. So they were, we've been hopeful that this Alec Boehm could play. Turns out he hit 247 last year, which was not what people are expecting. So,
and he was already not touted for his defense. So
we already had defensive issues. So the other night, he committed 3 errors, which is a lot.
In one inning, I'd say so.
Was it in one inning?
Oh yeah, it might have been 3 in a row. I actually didn't catch it. My buddies in the chat there were like, "Whoa, what's going on here?"
Well, either way, it's bad, and Philadelphia doesn't like these things, and they like it even less. There's something about Philly fans, and we could say this because we're Philly fans. The truth is, they're very sensitive, and if you don't play well, and they feel like you don't like them, you just goodbye. Just don't even. You and Ben Simmons can start a bowling league or something like that. So it got on camera that Boehm said, "I hate this effing place." Isn't that what he said? I hate this effing place. Yeah. But he actually said the word.
I believe John Boy read those lips perfectly.
And so at that point, you're like, goodbye, just because they're gonna kill you. Right. So the next night, they gave him a standing ovation. Zach, was this them generally finding a heart somewhere, or was this a sarcastic standing O?
Oh, sarcastic as hell. I think the standing O came later that game when he made a routine play. So
I thought it was the next night.
I could be wrong. That night he gave his explanation, which was actually pretty good. But I know they gave him sarcastic cheering earlier in the game, like when he finally made a play. So they probably
yeah.
just did it again. Yeah, I could see the standing O coming afterwards.
Well, would you want to play a sport in Philadelphia? Because on one hand, they're like, boy, when they get behind you, they're fantastic. I was like, yeah, but if they don't,
It's a good question. Yes, obviously, I'm from Philly. It's always been my dream to play on the Phillies, but I never was good enough. Even if I somehow made the pros, I would never
Sure.
be good enough to like win over the fans with grit, hard work, and production or anything.
well, I
So
mean,
I'm
ask
sure
Matt
I
Stairs.
wouldn't get it. I don't have the best attitude, so maybe wouldn't
Well,
go over perfectly.
all you need is one big hit. I mean, Matt
Yeah.
Stairs, I mean, he was announcing games. I was like, you realize his attachment to Philadelphia and the Philadelphia Phillies is one home run in the NLCS back in 08.
Yeah. He had a walk off in September of that year, also. So he got
Put him on the
off
Wall
the
of
right
Fame,
foot.
Zach.
Exactly. Yeah.
So all you have to do is, make one good steal or something like that, and then
As
he
long as
tries
it's
so
like
hard.
memorable, like iconic, yeah, you don't have to do anything else.
You'll never
Pep
buy a
Earl hit
beer in
a
town again.
209 one year, I believe, and luckily he actually played well when they won the World Series. So he's not going to go down as a villain. I mean, how could he? He's Pep Burrell.
They put him on the wall. They put him on the wall.
Yeah.
And the year he hit 2.9 was shortly after he hit 37 home runs and 117 RBIs, something like that.
Right. Yeah.
But who's counting? And then like the following year, he got a contract, and all of a sudden he's hitting 209, bleaching his hair with guy like on the bench. They were like bragging about being bench players by dyeing their hair blonde, which awesome. I'm not a
pat the
huge
bet.
Burrow guy.
His contract was an item of discussion for a decade. I don't know. So it's like, is he living up to his contract? I'd say
number
he
one overall.
In the end.
Fine, they got a World Series. Everyone can stop crying. But he was the number one overall pick in '98. Time we get the number one overall pick, which probably should have happened more often than not, considering how awful the team is.
Yeah,
historically. So now it's Mickey Moniak.
Yeah, but what? I can't catch a break. Phillies can't catch a break. I don't know. But he's out for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, 4 to 6 week broken hand. The guy finally started to hit a baseball. Jeez.
Years later.
But yeah, I just thought the Bohm story was hilarious.
Yeah, I think he reacted reasonably well. Not reacted. He in his presser afterwards, I think he was like he seemed genuine, and he's still a kid, so I mean he's got room to come back. But the problem is we got two other third basemen. No, that could potentially overtake him.
Doesn't mean they're that good.
Bryson Stott. Stott might be good. I don't know. We'll see.
You have to hope with Stott, but given the recent history of young Phillies players, I mean, my God, one of the few ones they developed was Roland, and they ran him out of town.
Dude, he's my favorite player of all time, besides maybe Chase.
Oh, everyone loves Chase. That's true. We do have Utley, Howard, and Rollins, which, and a little credit to Ed Wade. You can't tell me he didn't get calls about them in 2006, and he didn't move them.
No, Ed Wade caught a whole bunch of shit, and it turned out when we won that World Series, it was his core that mostly did it. Pat Gillick's the hero, but he only brought in like Joe Blanton. Speaking of bringing in, look who we have being brought in.
Luther.
There he is.
Yo.
So by the way, Luther, I have to tell you this. I think she
done with me.
Yeah, my mother. Oh, by the way, guys, I have my Cheap Shots T-shirt on. It's official. Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I'll take one of those.
Sure.
I can.
Luther can send you the one my mom got him, which again I hate bringing up on this show. It's just a bad idea.
Listen, his mom knows how sexy I am, but she overdoes it because I'm so sexy, and she sent me an XL shirt.
Yeah, that was
no way.
So is that too big or too small?
Oh, it's totally too small.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna take my picture off here, but I'll contribute if you.
Yeah, sure. You'll be our Baba Booey.
Yeah, I like the background doesn't look right if I'm up there.
That's fine. So Luther, I met a new colleague, this woman I've been working with, and she saw my Phillies hat, And she's like, I'm a huge Philly sport fan. And I mentioned cheap shots that I didn't tell. She had to look it up because I said, yeah, my co-host is the answer to a trivia question, which is who caught the most touchdown passes from Doug Peterson in his playing days. And I said, Doug didn't know it. And I said, and Luther didn't know it. I didn't tell her your name, but she wrote back and she goes, Luther Broughton? And I was like, I said, there's no way you didn't Google that.
So was it my mom?
Your
It had to
mom?
be.
No,
No,
I think she Googled it. I think she Googled it. Yeah, it was my mom. No,
because who else would?
you didn't know it. I was there. I was there with you. You just found out.
Right. I said, but you said a random woman. So I said, who would it be? It's either my mom or your mom. That's about it. One of our moms are the only people that would know that shit. Doug didn't even know. I didn't even know.
Did you see the clip of Doug on? Did you see the clip of Doug on Comcast the one night? They were giving him trivia questions when his first year as head coach, and they asked him, and he guessed. Remember Billy Hess from the Packers?
Wow.
He was like, I don't know.
I saw it because I think it was you possibly.
It was probably me
on the Book of Faces, and I saw it, and it was pretty funny. Because hell, who knows? Like, I don't listen. I know some guys are like pretty into themselves, and they know every little thing about themselves, their stats and all that. Most of the guys, they don't know that. That's for nerds like us that saw stats and whatnot. That's just like I had one record and I knew this one. I was proud of that shit because I didn't have that many stats. I had the longest touchdown ever by a Panther tight end. I know that's going down the line of stats. You got to break down some shit just to get, but for tight end, I had the longest touchdown in Panther history. It was 68 yards.
That was your first NFL touchdown.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's on YouTube if anyone wants to look it up. Luther put it there.
I'm so awesome. So we're watching the game. Of course, I live in Carolina. I'm all Panthers all the time when it's on, right? So, and I love watching the tight ends get the rock. I'm a huge fan of Greg Olsen. So he catches one and he gets in the open field and beats the safety. And it's like a foot race. And I'm like, this dude's not catching him. And I'm like, yes, right? And finally, like, I got tagged in a Facebook post and somebody said, well, looks like you no longer have that your one little record. You know, I was friends with him, so he was giving me a hard time. And I was like, what record? He's like, aren't you watching the game? I said, yeah, I'm watching the game. And he's like, dude, your record just went down. And I'm sitting there like, what record? And he's like, and he said, Greg Olsen just caught a 74-yard touchdown. I said, okay. And he said, dude, Greg Olsen just caught a 74-yard touchdown. And I was like, oh, no, I was cheering for him to score. So I no longer have the longest touchdown in Panthers history. So I do have the highest. This doesn't count, though. I have the highest yards per catch in Panthers history.
Do you not have enough receptions?
But it was only like 5 catches and one was for 68 yards.
Made the most of them.
Shit. But that one doesn't count. That one doesn't count. So, yes, I do have that record. I also led the league in receiving yards in the preseason.
Hey, that counts.
That counts. That counts. That freaking counts. I don't care. I saw my name at the top of the line in the USA Today paper, and I was excited.
That's great. Did you keep it? Did you keep the copy of the paper?
No, because we think we're going to play forever. We all think we're going to be stars. We all have this immense confidence. So we don't think the little things are important. We think we're going to get something bigger. Like, I played all those years. I did not have an autographed jersey, game jersey from anyone, not even my teammates. I had to get McNabb's jersey after like a few years ago. I have no McNabb. I have no Wesley Walls. I have no Troy Vincent, no Brian Dawkins, no Hugh Douglas, no John Runyon, none of that. And we were teammates. I could have gotten that like any day. didn't think of it. Guess what else I don't have? My helmets.
Do they let you keep them?
Yeah, they'll let you keep stuff. And I think some of the teams dock you or whatever. But like sometimes you're not thinking. Like, I know I wasn't. I mean, I got some game worn Jordans because we played on turf. I kept that forever. And but it's it's
Yeah.
kind of cool for that stuff to happen, but it's like, you know,
Well, I've heard from
whatever.
other former players that said that's why you make friends with the equipment manager because they'll really like look the other way and be like, "Yeah, you go ahead, take it."
Yep. Yep. Those guys don't. I mean, hell, if we throw a jersey, if we give a jersey to a fan, they're going to give us a new jersey the next week. I mean, it ain't like high school. It's like, dude, you don't have a jersey.
Right,
It's
right,
the
right.
like they'll get another jersey.
Well, actually, when Landetta said when he was playing for the Packers, it was awesome that they had like a tailor come in and sit with everybody individually to make sure your uniform is exactly how you want it.
The,
It's like every
the
week.
way you want it hemmed or
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and that was pretty cool. I actually, the Panthers, we didn't have someone come in, but the Panthers were like that. Jackie Miles, Jackie would be like, "Hey, how do you like it? How do you like your jersey or whatever?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Look, man, and it's like a bulky, thick jersey. I don't want you got to tuck it, right? It's the rules. If you keep your if you're not if you're in uniform violation, you get fined. So I
Oh
would
yeah.
have mine hemmed just a little bit below my waist, so I don't have to stuff all that jersey in my pants. And some guys, like the linemen, they wanted their jerseys tight, and they would have like the adhesive so it could stick to their shoulder pads so it won't get grabbed. Uh, I hated certain things like I don't like my friends would tease me. They're like, dude, you don't have on gloves, you don't look cool, you don't have on, and I'm like, dude, I'm a creature of habit, and I just don't like that stuff. And if I miss one pass in a practice and I have on gloves, I don't want to wear them anymore.
You have to be
Or if I
comfortable.
have on like a long shirt, it's I was like so I didn't like too much like color on the sock. I like too much white showing. I like the color to be almost all the way down, but you have to show both colors if you have a multicolored sock combination, and you can get fined for stuff
Do
like
they
that.
go over this before every game or like before the season where they're like, look, this is
Yeah,
the
I mean, you know the rules, and then before the season, if you're violating, because you have the freaking uniform cops on the sideline, they'll warn you. Most guys, they'll come over there if you're warming up, and they'll go, "Hey, Luther, you got too much black. You got to pull those socks up, or
it's
show some
racist.
white, or tape over it, tape it up, or whatever." Or they'll say, "Hey, you can't play with your jersey out this week," or like Deshaun Jackson. Like how his jersey was always out. I'm sure he was fined a lot. And listen, some guys make so much money, they don't care about the $5,000-$10,000 fine, which is nuts to me. But I mean, I guess if you're making $500,000 a week and they tell you they're gonna fine you $5,000, you don't care.
Yeah.
I do. I
Yeah,
know
but
I
I
do.
think if it depends on your comfort, you might be willing to pay that because
Yeah, I guess if comfort is not getting your jersey hemmed and tucking it in a little bit, that's one thing. If comfort isn't having a lot of black or a lot of color in your socks showing, that's not comfort. That's just like, ooh, I look cool. Comfort ain't having the like towels all over the place when they go, oh, you can have one towel. That's not comfort. That's I want to look cool.
right.
But
Well,
whatever, if you make
hey,
enough money and you can afford it, good for you. I couldn't. I got
yeah.
fined 1 year for having too much white showing in my sock in the preseason, and I'm like,
What
it's
was their
the
name?
preseason. Are you kidding me? And I appealed it, and they gave me my money back almost immediately because they're like, yeah, this is your first ever offense. You've never even had a warning. They said, fine, you're good. Because if you come in the locker room and you have a FedEx in your locker, you're pissed. Because
Yeah.
the FedEx is a fine.
Mm-hmm.
So that's irritating.
So speaking of people getting trouble in the NFL, you following any of this Dan Snyder stuff with the Washington Commanders?
Oh, what the
hate that.
hell?
I
He's
think he
running
might be.
that shit like a mob. What is he doing? What is he? So what are the other owners doing? When these dudes should be like, look, man, we gotta get this dude out of here. What does he have on them?
I don't know, but once you start taking their money and messing with their money, people get
That's
cranky
what I'm
real quick.
saying.
Yeah.
You're taking their money, so they're like right now they're probably like, why are they not like ridiculously angry right now trying to get him out of there? They probably are.
Maybe they are. Now, for people that don't know, this was he a sales guy or something that went to Congress and basically said these things were going on, and Snyder and some other, I guess they said it's not true, and anybody says that is perjuring themselves. You're going to tell me a sales guy from an NFL team is going to go lie in front of Congress?
No, he's not.
Probably not.
Why he's not? I know I'm not. I don't care that.
No.
I'm certainly not.
It's kind of like when remember Chris Webber was asked about the Michigan NCAA violations. It was like, all right, it's one dude, it's one thing to lie to the NCAA. No one cares. It's a governing body. So what? If they subpoena you and put you in front of like a court or a Congress or something like that, you better start telling the truth.
You better start telling the truth, bro.
Yeah, they're not messing around. So with Snyder withholding like ticket money from the full NFL owners pool, that's probably going to they'll deal with the sexual assault allegations and the inappropriate treatment of women. He apparently told some cheerleader to go upstairs with one of his friends or something like that. That's pretty frowned upon. Ain't enough to get you kicked out.
Nah, they
taking my money is.
They don't care about that stuff. They really don't. They act like they do. They don't. They care about it if it gets called out on the carpet, but otherwise.
Well, now it's public. I mean, I'd be perfectly fine if he had to go. Just if I was a Washington fan, I would want him gone. What's he done since he took over the team?
They hate him.
He's terrible.
He is good.
So we'll keep it here with the NFL and the Props Network because that's what we do. Did you see I don't know if it's an officially proposed trade or if someone was messing around. I know the NFL draft's coming up and I get excited for it. And I do mention the Eagles around draft time, not just that I'm a fan of them, but they tend to be the wheelers and dealers big time around the draft. And I saw a trade proposal I don't think is possible. I guess it could be. The 15th and the 18th pick in the first round. And Rager, which, I already shut down when I heard about getting rid of Rager. You can't do that. For the 3. That's a long way up.
I saw that. But who do you want at 3?
I would say one of two guys, and it's probably Kyle Hamilton or Sauce Gardner.
So you're giving up 2 first-round picks to get one of those guys when there are other DBs in that first round?
I ain't disagreeing with you, man.
When you can get 2 of those, dude, I'm sorry. I'm staying there, and I'm hoping the kid from LSU fall.
Stingley.
Stingley, hope, or I grab 10, or and I'm sucking right now with the names, or Booth from Clemson, or there's another guy. Dude, I'm staying there and I'm taking 2 guys, bro.
You better want a quarterback to get to 3.
That's what That's
right?
why I said, who do you want? I didn't mean there wasn't talent up there, because you could go up there and get one of those pass rushers, right? Fine. I'm staying there because there's a lot. If I don't get one of those defensive backs, I'm getting a pass rusher at 15. What is it? 15 we have?
15 and 18 now.
Dude, I can get somebody at 15 and 18. I'm staying. Or I'm flipping.
Especially with your history of first-round draft picks and second round. You're terrible.
Flipping that 15 for more picks.
I'm fine with that.
But I'm not giving them up for 3 unless somehow you're getting a young Tom Brady and he's 100.
Yeah, I'm not either. Do you see many trades up this year? It seems like there's a lot of talk about it, but is
I
anybody
listen.
somebody could move up and get Willis or
Right,
Corral or
you
Pickett?
know how the draft is. You know
Yeah.
how it is, man. People go crazy, and at this time of the year, they lose their minds because they spend a whole 3 years watching a guy, and then all of a sudden they start looking more and more because he ran really fast last week, and we spoke to him, and oh, he's muscular, and his coaches talk so highly of him. His film is still the same.
I know.
He's still the same guy on film. And but they'll do that. But if and they're human beings running these drafts with emotions.
I know.
It's
I
not
know.
a robot. So Kyler Gordon, that's the kid from Washington. Goodness, I couldn't remember his name.
Because there's some people that kind of bumped up Willis when he threw like an 80-yard pass in the air in a pro day or something like that.
Exactly. Look, that's impressive.
It is.
Even if you don't want to, if you're talking about a guy who has a cannon and you want to know if he has an arm, that's a cannon. Look,
Yep.
if you are already high on this guy and you're unsure of his arm, or you want to see and you see that helps. That helps. But you don't go from this isn't a guy I want to draft to now I want to trade up first round picks for him because he threw well with shorts on in a freaking gym.
Yeah.
And
Well, some scout was looking over at a GM and being like, "See, I told you. Let's kick and play."
right. Right. It's like Rich Flowers says, combine success stories. Yeah, they work out so well.
Yeah.
They really, some guys solidify themselves. They solidify what you thought, and you go, "Yep, he's who." Like Kuechly. Yeah, we were like, this Kuechly fella is ridiculous. Then he goes to the combine, and you go, "Yep,
yeah,
oh yeah,
freak show.
Look at him. He's a freak show. He is who we thought he was, and he's that guy." Or you take a guy like, I don't know, let's say who would shoot up the draft, like a guy
Kyle Bowler.
I love Mike Mamula. I love as a person. He shot up with his combine performance. He was
first workout warrior.
He was going to be a top 90 guy. Okay. Then he
90. Did you just say 90?
Yeah, that's first 3 rounds. He was easily going to be a top 90 guy.
I thought he would have gone higher than that, even without the combine.
I said easily.
All right, okay.
He was easily a top 90 guy. Easily. Then he had a dominant bowl game, and he tore up the combine. And he went top 10, right?
7. Yep.
7. He went from, I know I'm probably going first 2 rounds to maybe first to 7. Get like it happens all the time. And I'm glad for Mike because I like him. He got paid.
And he was not nearly the bad player that people make him out to be. He was good.
He was not nearly as bad as people say. It's all because we drafted him at 7.
Over
and then
Warren
you
Sapp.
expect him to be a franchise changer. And that's what happened over Warren Sapp. Yep.
So that's what, because he smoked pot. They couldn't have that on the team. But I mean, the Jets took Kyle Brady. They can't be doing any bragging either.
He who?
Kyle Brady, the tight end. Remember? The Jets took Kyle Brady ahead of Warren Sapp. That's got to be a miserable fan base. Jeez. They just blow it all the time.
Actually, nobody talks about this because I was highly touted, but Derek Brooks and Ty Law also bypassed up there.
Derek Brooks was in that draft. That's who it was. Tampa got 2 guys. So
could you add anything else to make us feel better, Zach?
And Ty.
Not on that one. I like Mike Moore too.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Luther, I was watching the 97 Eagles yearbook last night. You made an appearance.
I was that dude.
You were in the back a little bit, but I saw you. I was like, there's Luther.
Yeah. You probably had a cool, nice, clean haircut. No reps. No
I don't know. You were on the field, so I don't know. But how hilarious. Not to change the top. How hilarious are those NFL yearbooks? I don't know if anybody watches those. I do. and you could be like 2-14, and they just talk about how you battled
Oh,
all
and
year.
then it looks so good. It was
Next year,
great. And next year they're blah blah. And they're like, we suck.
do you ever watch those as a former player? Do you ever watch those?
Yeah, I'm a sports kind of a junkie, so I watch those things.
But you don't look for yourself or anything like that?
No, I mean if it's ours, I'll go. Oh, I wonder if I'm on here, but I
Yeah.
don't watch them to look for me. Hell, I watch other teams.
True, but I meant if you played on those teams, if it was a
if I play on
98
those
Panthers
teams,
or
I look,
2001 Panthers.
I do look. I go. I wonder if I'm on here, and I look at it because I want to show my son.
That's
I have
a good point.
that changes things. I have a son, so I go, Cam, look, I'm on here. But not because, ooh, that's me, and I'm so good because I had the one catch for 3 yards on that one film.
Well, you know what's funny that you mentioned Cam? I know you like to post videos of him at his football practice. And the other day I was watching a clip you put up, and I was like, damn, that kid's fast. And I was like, dude, his dad was a professional athlete. He's probably faster than everybody else.
And that's like I go out there, and the guy coaching the team, like, I'm just like I'm not going out there saying, all right, I was a pro, so I know what I'm doing. My son knows what I'm doing. I'm out there like I have no clue, and just stand back and I laugh because I listen to other people saying stuff, and I go, ooh, that kind of doesn't make sense. But
don't teach my kid that.
Anything. No, not the coach, just like the fans and stuff, the parents. I say fans. So, but yeah, like it's funny because sometimes, like 2 years ago, Cam was on a basketball team, and the coach, I mean, it's a volunteer coach, man. He's out there just having a little good time. He was teaching Cam stuff that like the opposite of what I was teaching him for basketball. And it was like, and Cam would get in the car and I'd be like, Cam, don't do that. and I hated saying that. That's like picking him up from school and telling him not listen to the teacher. Because I take Cam to training. Cam has basketball training. There's this guy that's really good with kids, and it's not individual. It's like a group of kids, but they get individual work with him. And he's like fussing at them or telling them to pick it up or come. And Cam is like looking, and I was like, what are you looking at me for? This is like, you're in school. I can't help.
Yeah.
He's in charge right now. Because I'm gonna walk outside and go on the phone or email someone who's emailing me about work or whatever. And I'm like, Cam, he is running this thing. He's the teacher. And he was like, all right. I'm like, dude, so what he makes you go again? So what you got to work hard? So what he fussed at you for being lazy? Like, so, and he gets it. Like, Cam gets that. Like, I'm not having my kid be you're not in fucking, you're not.
That's right. You've been good today.
Right. You're not in charge. Like, I need to have a coachable kid. Dude, I've been around uncoachable guys, and it sucks because you go, man, he's disrupting things. My son ain't going to be the uncoachable kid.
In the NFL, who was uncoachable that you felt was difficult that doesn't listen to this show?
I can't think of anyone offhand. Like, when you get to that point, most people are pretty coachable, or you can get rid of them unless they're an absolute superstar. Then you deal with it, So I'm thinking, I can't think of anyone that's coming to mind right now. Seriously, it's not like I don't want to call anyone out. I mean, if you're uncoachable, you were a jerk. But I can't think of anyone. Most people, like, dude, you get to that level, and these guys are so good or whatnot, and they're super coachable. They're so coachable. You've got a star, and the coach is like, I mean, Tom Brady gets fussed at,
Sort of. Well, Belichick probably did a little bit.
Dude, those dudes says Belichick held his feet to the fire. Tom, that's an easy throw. Look at your footwork. That's being coached and accepting it, not saying, I'm Tom Brady. I'm whatever. Dude, that does help you get better. Even when you're great, you got some things to tune up and you go, whoa, now I went from 75% to 80% next week because I didn't miss those little easy throws. So being coachable is important, man.
Speaking of which, as we transition into the NBA, that was one of the things I think that Popovich always said about Duncan, right? Was that I could yell at him like anybody and he would just take it. That it set an
So that
example for the
means
rest of the team.
everyone else has to take it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk about basketball.
And I'm looking at you, Avery Johnson. Why?
Just because.
Because did the Hornets lose?
I don't want to talk about basketball.
All right, can we at least discuss Thibault?
Yes.
All right, that's basketball, but it's not. So the Sixers will be out without the services of one Matisse Thybulle, who was a starter. Say what you want, he's a starter. He's one of the best defensive players in the league, and he can't play.
I don't want to get. I'm not fully vaccinated. I believe what I believe, and you're not pushing me to do what I don't want to do.
At what point are you hurting he can't play the games in Toronto because Canada won't allow it.
Right.
He won't get a vax. Or he only got one shot and didn't get boosted and all this stuff. At what point are you have your principles like Mr. Kyrie and the fact that you're hurting your team?
Did he get a shot?
Thibault?
Yeah.
One.
So what did he get sick?
I don't know. He apparently not, but Canada's rules, he can't play the games that are played in Toronto.
That's what I'm saying. But so he decided like, okay, I'm not going to now, even though I can't play and help the team win a championship.
Well, the good news is they're not going to win a championship, so it won't matter.
Well, listen, man, we've had this discussion with Kyrie and all that, and you can't force a guy to do what they don't want to do. But when you're in a team environment, like you sacrifice a little bit, But that I don't know if you can call that a sacrifice. But I mean, they're not asking you to take steroids.
I know. You. No, I agree, and I think I give Kyrie credit for sticking to his guns, which he did, but at what expense?
The team had to play in the play-in game. Now they're the 7th seed.
Which is bad news for somebody.
The Celtics, yes, but they have to play from that side of it. I mean, if you want to win it all, you got to beat the good teams, but man, it didn't make sense for them to be the 7th seed, bro.
So discussing odds, these Suns are now 260 plus 260. So 100 gets you 260 to win it all. They've got to be. I mean, I don't think anybody's a close second at like plus 500.
Plus 260. 100 only gets you 260. Is that what that means?
100 means you get your 100 and 260 back. So you end up with 3. You turn 100 and
plus
260. Yeah, minus is it costs you 130 or whatever the minus is to get you to 100.
Plus 260.
That's what I said, but I guess it must be tough. You got a long way to go.
Huh. Are they the best odds?
Yeah, they said the next closest is plus 500.
Do they have numbers for the field, like in the Masters or something?
Okay.
I'm asking, did you happen to
I don't know. It
like
says the Bucks are a distant second at plus 500.
Okay.
This sounds like good bets here on the Props Network.
Right. I don't think you know what you're talking about right now.
I never do, but I'm reading what someone else wrote.
Seems like I want to place one of those bets.
It kind of made me want to bet, and I don't even gamble that much. So yeah, that's that. Who are you taking then, Luther? Does that mean that the Suns are they're the favorite? You think they're going to do it?
Chris Paul always gets hurt somehow. He always gets hurt somehow, and that's going to be a problem. So
yeah, I would say it's an issue if you're going to ask Devin Booker to do everything.
You're not messing around.
No, you're not asking Devin Booker to do everything. You're taking Chris Paul off that team. That team is deep. That team is deep, it's not asking Devin Booker to do everything, but you're taking Chris Paul off the point. And their backup point does a decent job of being a backup point, Cameron Payne, but you lose somebody who can dominate a game without scoring 10 points. And
Now-
that's different from what Booker does. You need Booker off the ball and scoring and not playmaking. You need Chris Paul to lead and do what he does. He just always seems to get hurt at the most inopportune times. I know he's 100, so we'll see, man. It's hard to win multiple set. It's not one and done like college. It's hard to win multiple series at that level.
What is your take on the play-in game? It seems a little chintzy.
I
To
like
play
it.
all those games.
Well, you play all those games to the teams that are in 7 and 8, they would have made the playoffs anyways. So they got to play one game to get the 7th seed, right? They got to win one game to get the 7th seed. And the team that's in 8, they have to they don't have all they have to do is not lose 2 games. So the teams in 9 and 10 are in a tough position, but that keeps 10 teams plus the teams that are on the edge competitive the entire season. Before you would have the teams who were not at near 9 tanking the whole year. And
Right.
then look at last year, the low seed Memphis Grizzlies won both games, ended up knocking out the Warriors, and they needed that experience. And look at them now, right? I'm back and forth on it. I kind of like it. I don't like the fact that the Hornets seem like they it doesn't matter because they keep getting blown out in them. But listen, we were the 10th seed both years. We would have been done. At least we had a chance. Now
Yeah.
we were one buzzer beater against the Pistons away from the 7th seed, which is crazy. They were all pretty even. So we were the 10th seed. We could have been the 7th. And I really would have been pissed because in a normal year, we would have just been in the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But listen, if you can't win or compete in a play-in game, what do I want? Why do I want them? I mean, we've improved. We used to be the laughing stock. We hadn't been over 500 in a while, and we finished 4 games over 500. We need a big. We really need a big.
Everybody does.
But no, we need a big. A lot of people have a big, but they don't have the other stuff. We got plenty wings. We need a big. But whatever. I don't want to belabor the point. Everybody knows that's my team.
I'll get my not to promote the show. I'll get my cheap shot on the Sixers. I think their bench is terrible, and they're just not good enough. I think they're going to be very disappointing, and I don't think a lot of people in Philadelphia even care at this point.
They do have an unstoppable force in there, though. And when you get in the playoffs and the game slows down, and you could give it to that one person who's bigger and more skilled than everybody else and can get you a bucket, that means a lot, bro.
I get that, but you also can't go into 15-point deficits every time he and even Harden, who hasn't been good, when they leave the floor because your bench is so poor.
Again, in the playoffs, when the games slow down and gets a little ugly, you shorten the bench, and they have a guy who can get a bucket when he wants to, pretty much, and you can't stop him. You can't teach that size and skill, and he's a problem. All you need is a little bit off your bench, and then you lose one guy who doesn't want to get the second shot. But you can dig on your team all you want. I tell you what you do have. You got a guy who you can throw the ball into in the post and get buckets. No one else has that anymore.
I agree.
No,
He's kind of a unicorn.
Easiest way for you to get easy. in a league where everyone wants to shoot threes, when that thing gets close at the end of the game, Embiid is such a problem, bro. He's such a problem.
And he's actually better than he was in a year or two
He's
ago.
better than he was. He's such a problem. I hate that you guys had to destroy your bench to bring in Harden, and I hate that Ben Simmons didn't say, "You're right. I needed to play better," and came back better this year, or at least a little bit better. Instead,
He was never playing for that team again. He just wasn't.
that's not what that's obviously what happened. I just said I hate that you had to destroy your bench because of that guy and him being a pussy.
Okay, so one last question and we'll get rolling. How afraid are you if you're in the West? How afraid are you of Memphis? The amount of games that they've won without Morant.
Two seed. Oh,
I know.
What are the 2 seed? Yeah, you should be afraid of the 2 seed. You don't want to play the 2 seed.
Not especially the way they came in.
You asked me about the who just won the other night to make the playoffs. Who was there? No. West. You just said West.
Clippers,
Timberwolves,
Minnesota. Yeah.
And who was their second game? Oh, that was last night. That was the Spurs and
the Pelicans are next.
Spurs and Pelicans. Okay. So right now you should be asking, do you want to play the Timberwolves? They're the 7th seed and they've been busting ass late in the season and they're putting it together. And they have a big. They have a big who
Yes,
can
they do.
go. And their big did nothing the other night because they called every foul on him and they still won. Not to knock down your point, but when you're asking that question about the 2 seed, I'm like, yes, I don't want to play them. But if you ask me that question about Minnesota, I go, no, I don't want to play them. They got young guys that don't even know better. They don't know that they're not supposed to be that good in the playoffs.
Right.
And they have irrational confidence, dude. And they could, I don't know who they have to play. And then you got a team, they might be playing Dallas, and Luka's got a calf. No, Dallas plays Utah.
That could be a good one too, but they are saying Luka's probably going to miss game 1.
And what's crazy is they had something to play for the last game, right? Golden State was up 30. And Jason Kidd is like, well, I wasn't watching the scoreboard. You should have been. Luka should have been. You couldn't do anything. Golden State was beating the hell out of their team. You couldn't make up ground, and Luka should have been on the bench. Come on, man. So I just got notification on Bleacher Report. The Brady's last TD auction ball.
Yeah.
The deal was voided, which is good for that guy. Because that sucked. So, yeah. Anyways, $518,000 that guy gets back. Good for him.
Yeah. Or he should at least have dibs on the next last ball.
Also, if you have that much money to play for a ball, I don't know how bad I feel for you.
Yeah. Invest it in some local schools or a community program.
No, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy that tells a super rich guy who makes an irrational expense that you should invest in schools. You know why? Because he probably already put like $500 million in schools.
He may have already.
But people do that all the time. I had this one girl arguing last year during the pandemic. Remember when the NFL gave guys a chance to opt out?
Yeah.
And they could get like $200,000 or whatever, but they weren't getting paid. They were taking an advance on the next year's money. They were like, why is this fair to teachers? I said, what? I said, what does NFL have to do with teaching, right? She said, oh, it must be nice to be able to not show up for your job during the pandemic and get paid. And we can't do that and this, that, and the other. And I said, they're taking an advance on next year's money. They were like, well, we can't do it. They should be able to, they should put that money in the teachers. I said, so you want, I said, let's do simple math. I said, let's call it 30 teams, right? Let's call it 50 guys, 55, let's call it 1,900 players, right? I said, so you want 1,900 people to fund a nation of teachers. You want 1,900 people, or do you have a different problem with these guys? And then they started going down their rabbit hole and Kaepernick.
They're black.
I said, that's your problem. And I said, but you still brought it up. You want 1,900 guys to fund America's teachers. So do you not want the actors and actresses to do
Yeah.
it? Do you realize there's a shit ton of people who make a lot more money than athletes?
Yes.
You know that, right?
Mhm.
But it's only entertainment, and you know how much they make because they plaster it on TV. You know that guy that lives down the street from you, he probably makes more than our star player. You
Yeah.
just don't know. You walk in his house and you think, that's a nice picture and that's a nice book, but it's a first edition fucking Shakespeare, and he paid $7 million for it, but it's just a book. And he's not an NFL player, so you know he shouldn't have to do anything. I'm like, that's the stupidest thing. Stay out of people's pockets. Like they're
Well-
always like, oh, they don't do this. How do you know that?
Yeah.
You don't know what these guys do. Like, and it's these guys give a ton of money because it's a freaking tax write-off, obviously. And if you're
Well-
smart, you give your money to some charity or whatnot. But they're always like, you should do this, or I can't believe we're paying this guy $10 million a year and I make $40,000 as a teacher. Well, fucking go be an NFL player or go do something different.
Yeah.
Not that I'm putting them down. It's just so dumb. Why do you think an athlete should fund the nation's teachers?
But it wouldn't even cover a state, first of all.
It wouldn't even cover a county. Like, it's like the money is not being taken away from teachers. They're
No.
not taking money away from they're earning the money is coming from their product.
But it's coming from a private entity, whereas
And on
teachers
top of
work for
that-
the government usually.
On top of that, Micah, Luther, and I said, so full disclosure, I played. I said my rookie year I made $131,000. I said, so you want to take my money and not Jeff Lurie's? He's a billionaire. So why should I have to pay?
Right.
Oh, they were like losing it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and bow out because you guys aren't intelligent. I was like, this isn't a conversation for me because you guys aren't intelligent. Like, and I've stopped doing the whole social media arguing or debating because
Sort of.
But no, I have. I'll give people a hard, like Steve Nichols, a hard time. But that was like people I don't know. It was on someone else's page, and I was answering her, and I said, "You guys aren't intelligent." I was like, "You're a group of teachers, and this is what you're thinking." And I'm like, "I'm sorry for sounding like an asshole, but this just isn't an intelligent argument."
No,
So-
look, I mean, the worst thing you can do is get an argument on someone else's page. At least if you know the people, you can have an argument. But I mean,
Right. But I really didn't want to because I was answering her question about because they kept talking about and she was like, can someone please tell me how are they getting paid to not play? And I said, hey, they're not getting paid to not play. They're taking an advance on next year's money if they don't want to take if they don't want to risk COVID. It was new. Like
It was
everyone
brand new.
thought you were gonna die. Guys were like, I was like, dude, these guys are giving up. Like the guy from the Ravens, the linebacker. I'm like, he's giving up $6 million and opting to borrow $200,000 from his salary for next year. He's not making out here.
it might not even be a good idea.
Right.
But anyway, Luther, I guess we'll wrap up this week. I actually have a surprise in a couple weeks for you. I have a Luther Broughton jersey.
Ah,
Well, it's an Eagles 84 jersey. As far as you know, it's yours.
yeah, you probably got Freddie Mitchell's old jersey.
Yeah, I do, actually.
Well, there you go.
It is. It's from his rookie year. I have an authentic one. I'll have to rock that, and I'll just tell everyone it's a Luther Broughton original.
Yeah, I don't want that.
But anyway, do we have any parting comments from my mother? I guess as we
Well, yes, you can get the jersey that I left at your mom's house that she
See?
wears to bed when I'm there.
Oh my God, that creeps me out. I don't even know why I allow this. Look, Luther, you have a good Easter. Actually, before I let you go, you remember when you put something on Facebook years ago about what Black Thanksgiving was like? And you guys have like crabs and like all this stuff. I was like, this is incredible. Is Easter similar? Is it like a Thanksgiving 2.0 or do you scale back?
We put it down on these holidays now.
Because we get like ham and deviled eggs at the White household.
We got ham and deviled eggs and like 15 other items to start.
Well, hey, I'm a little closer now, so I'm gonna come down for one of these holidays. Maybe I'll come down for Thanksgiving.
Go ahead.
invite
Come
myself.
down here for Thanksgiving, you gonna go back without a girlfriend because you're gonna be fat.
Or you'll just keep my girlfriend down there. I know you guys are friends on Facebook now.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna take your mom and your girlfriend. I like maturity, so your mom stays.
I don't know if my mom listens to this stuff, but whatever. Anyway, look, everybody have a great Easter. For Luther Broughton, I'm Micah Warren. Everybody have a good one. Behave yourselves and don't drink and drive.
Peace.